Hi, guys. Hi, friends, dear ones. We're talking about finding the ease of life. Let's get all situated here. Dear ones, we are gathered here finding the ease of life. We have some new people popping up, coming in both on Instagram and on YouTube. So that is beautiful. It is a new time, new time on earth, a new time for wisdom to come out. I even got some coffee today. So it is beautiful to see you guys, and got some water too. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Henrik. I am the teacher of ease, the teacher of the ease of life. This path is the one I have walked. So I have been to the other side of this teaching. I've been I've gone through these levels of awakening, these levels of enlightenment. It is a path of wisdom, a path of ease, a path of simplicity, and a path of integrating both mind, body, heart, soul, spirit. In this time of confusion, it's always been confusion in people, and life have been different in different cultures, different countries. And in these different countries and cultures, there's been these different spiritual traditions or ways of life has grown out. Some people more focusing on strengthening the body, uplifting the body. Some people more focusing on clarity of mind, structure. Some people focusing more on being, returning to the self. Some people talking about more about life or about God. So we have in this time all these different places where we can experience and investigate. And in my own journey, I can look at my parents and my ancestors, my grandfather being a pastor or priest, being kind of focused on God, but also growing up without a father, in a single parent household. You can see how people, by looking at them, you can see how different lives are affected. And then how my dad kind of having an uncle that was a medical doctor and finding kind of a different focus there where he wanted to become a surgeon, and in that kind of simplicity of just a craft, kind of not needing to kind of be so God focused. which leads to kind of atheism. And that is where like a lot of people in Norway and a lot of places in the West now have kind of pulled back into more being a scholar, being educated, thinking educatedly, thinking wisely or knowledgeably. Which I could see that he enjoyed his life and he didn't need to put too much focus in that kind of God focus. But then I could easily see that he got very, still kind of acted very similarly to his parents, of being very helping and honoring, kind of having a deep reverence still for people like his parents did. It's where people say like, oh, they enjoy the Christian cultural heritage of honoring humans, being nice to humans. But then you have the other side where you can see his niceness to humans also made him very nice to my mom. But my mom receiving that, but also you could see that she kind of became more emotional. And if she was emotional, then that could affect the dinner, everything. It's a little bit like being pregnant or being, you know. So emotionality can easily kind of bring people up and down. You could feel sometimes eating dinner would be very nice. Sometimes it felt like the emotions were angry or worried, and you bring it down. It became this tense energy around the dinner table. So looking at this, I could see this felt kind of a little bit like war, emotional warfare. Like how you can come in and be happy, and then suddenly the emotion kind of brings the whole, relationship, the whole family down. So that was part of my reflection as a young person. So when I kind of realized that, yeah, I had to dare to go and become a chiropractor, which was focusing on the body. You can say it's focusing on health or focusing on spinal tension, skeletal tension. I didn't know too much about it, but then when I had an out of body experience where I realized that there are levels to my body awareness that I didn't know about, that I encountered with a master of Tai Chi, that kind of, that there's levels to relaxation that I was not aware of. And in this surrender, I ended up having this out of body experience where my body kind of relaxed, or kind of, I relaxed because I was suddenly outside my body. I was in my being, and my body was like in tune with my being, was listening to my being, and then the body kind of relaxed in a very different way than anything I have experienced before. So that was the beginning of my journey. Like all the reflections up had kind of opened me up to kind of like not really, seeing kind of the warfare between husband and wife and between different stuff, then realizing that it seemed like most people are still harboring a lot of tension inside. Coming to this chiropractic school, you saw that everybody seemed to have some tension in their neck or in their shoulders, or even everybody who's did any kind of spiritual practice as well, even if they were Buddhist or yoga or healers or kind of stuff, people were still kind of had this tension inside. So when I kind of surrendered to the realization that I had to kind of let go of my own connection with the body, I had to trust something outside of myself. That's when I had this body, it suddenly shifted. And I realized that that was a humbling experience, to having to let go of my identity, my perspective, my knowing, my knowledge, my sense of self, which I realized was kind of a sense, an arrogance or a sense of pride. We talk about there's pride going on these days, which is like symbolic. Everybody's becoming very knowledgeable, filled up. We know more than ever. We know more things than ever. And yet we might not necessarily receive the wisdom behind it, because we kind of get stuck in this emotional warfare of opinions. A lot of people get stuck. They hear something and they get stuck. And then you see sometimes people, they get kind of sucked into different opinions. I could see with my sister, she kind of goes in and supports my dad, or my brother suddenly supports my mom. Like there's different coalitions, or like girlfriends supporting each other, or families kind of support. There becomes these kind of emotional groups of identities. And then you see it very strongly now in America, where like there's like the right and left, there's like all this kind of warfare going on. And yet when I realized that there was a potential to release your standing and to kind of find this peaceful reverence, this being behind your body that could work with the body and that could allow the body to relax. Now, I didn't totally understand what relaxation was until at that time, where you could see that everybody, when they're tensing up, they get like their spine tense, and there's like subluxations, they call it, or locked joints, or muscles get stiff and joints get kind of locked, and it's not moving as much, which leads to kind of less nervous flow, less energy flow in the body. And that kind of leads organs and muscles and the brain to have less circulation than it potentially can have. So in that realization, I realized that, wow, if we allow ourselves to relax, if we allow ourselves to come to ease, into being, we can find this like gentle body that kind of is waiting for you on the other side. So in these talks, in this Wisdom Wednesdays, I'm kind of opening up this space of being with you, even if you're just listening to me on the other side of this screen. It's like in the beginning of this journey, I had more people, as my body shifted, my perspective, I had people more physically being with me. And it's almost like they kind of adapted to my energy, and then things shifted. Now I have the same people coming here online. And online, when you're tuning into this session, I had just had somebody like last session, like a week ago, while we were talking, they were suddenly, their energy body are shifting, and then that affects suddenly your internet or your computers or your lights. Suddenly lights can turn on, or their literally their music, their Spotify just turned on when the computer was closed. and literally they had to open up the computer and go into the program and then turn it off. Or suddenly they can experience that the car alarms goes off, or suddenly the TV turns on. This seems kind of a little magical. Or you might suddenly feel that you're listening to it and suddenly you're kicked out of Instagram or YouTube, and then you have to kind of connect again. But also you can experience that you suddenly get heat waves or cold feeling, or suddenly you start to hear voices, or a bird might suddenly come out of your window, or a cat might literally start looking at you, or different things, or your friends start texting you on the phone wanting attention, because as you open up in this way that we're talking about here, you will literally experience that you are connecting more. So when I realized that when the body relaxed, as I kind of stepped into being, then my energy body opened up. And then suddenly our surroundings, the people, your friends, your family, your computer suddenly reacted to your difference in energy. So that is how kind of beautifully simple it was to experience it. And yet that was just kind of the start of the journey. Now, like almost 30 years later, I've kind of gone through, there's still difference. We have to kind of meet the body, meet the mind, meet the emotions, meet your soul, meet your spirit, meet your sexuality, meet your identity in all these different, which will, when you come in here, either on a Wisdom Wednesday or an online retreat or a physical retreat, you might literally, it's almost like you're opening up this space inside of you. You're opening up to ease. There's energy coming in, and then suddenly you're going to feel resistance. You're going to feel like, you might feel anger. You might feel uncomfortability or anxiousness or desire, or like being spacious, or like unable to focus, sad might suddenly come, sadness might come. All these different emotions might come up to kind of greet you as you are shifting. And then when you are patiently listening to this, you might literally be like, if you're just here, you're just watching, you're just listening, you're just in the beingness that is here available, you might suddenly realize that you're starting to get an itch, or like you might start coughing, or you start to yawn, or you get tired, or you get cold, or you have to pee, as the body starts to adapt to this energy. Or you might get really hungry or thirsty. You might see a banana and be like, oh, I need a banana right now. I need a burger right now. I need some food. So the simplicity of this journey is that in opening up to this teaching, to the teacher, which is me, to the teaching and teacher in you, as you are kind of listening to what I'm talking about, then there's energy, motion, there's kind of a love making happening. Our energies kind of combine and move energy together. This might sound weird, but believe me, it was weird for me in the beginning. It takes getting used to all these different things that I talk about here, as I kind of bring into awareness different things, as I've gone through so many levels in this awakening process, that when people text me or DM me on the side and be like, wait, I'm experiencing this, or I'm be like, yes, well, look at it, think about it like this, or like look at it like that, or this is totally normal in it. So You might be listening to this now or later, doesn't matter. You can still suddenly experience something. And then you might feel inclined to kind of give back in a way, give a donation, kind of to participate in it. Everybody is different, but it's like you want to engage, you want to like open up to this love, open up to this blessed, graceful being of yourself, of the space. So the other part of this talk is the silent part, where you kind of just you you kind of remove yourself even more from me and just kind of sink back. If you're sitting, maybe you want to sit in the chair, like in a comfortable chair, or you want to sink back in the chair a little bit, kind of drop your hands down in your lap and kind of drop your shoulders a little bit, drop your chest a little bit, drop your head, your neck, kind of letting yourself a little bit. It's almost like going to sleep when you're just like watching something or you're a little tired and you just letting yourself kind of, yeah, just close your eyes and just kind of allowing yourself time to receive. Because the energy here isn't just about the words, it's about the energy which you will feel in your body. And you might suddenly feel like you're just getting a little stretcher, you're like wanting to stretch like a cat. You're just yawning and you're kind of sinking, opening up your shoulders a little bit more and just wiggling a little bit as your hips kind of open, as your knees kind of open, as your legs kind of open. And it doesn't matter if it's now or later you watch it. Whenever you watch it, you can receive it. That is the beauty of this journey. It's like it is a choice of showing up to yourself. That is literally. And then it's almost like a breath coming in, filling you up from below, from behind, kind of embracing you. Almost like it feels like almost like a different person, but it is you. It's just a different side of yourself. It's almost we can open up to different sides of ourselves. And it kind of opens up and it opens up into your belly, into your chest, into your shoulders, into your neck, into your jaw. Opening up. And letting through, letting kind of like, it's almost like you're suddenly getting clearer, hearing noise, hearing silence in the space, feeling light, seeing the sky anew, seeing the trees anew, seeing everything anew as you keep reinventing yourself or re-emerging, rebirthing yourself. Opening up in your nose and your sinuses, in your ears. It's like a popping. It's almost like when you're airplane and you hear that popping in your ear and you're like, oh, yeah, that is like the same thing. It's like we're opening up these inner channels, this inner pressure. And suddenly, when you're in the airplane and you can't hear anything, and then suddenly it equalizes, pops, and you're like, oh, I can hear now. We don't even always know that we are. It's pressure inside. It's pressure in our eyes and our ears, in our nose and sinuses, in our chest, our emotions, our heart. And suddenly it's like clearer and there's more optimism, more light, more love, more more bliss coming in, more clarity, more more laughter coming in, and it can fill you. And then you suddenly are like, oh, it's almost like you had a little internal massage, internal healing, internal just internal workout. And then it kind of goes through. So I kind of bring in different aspects of this. It's kind of an intuitive talk. It is kind of adapting to what you're needing, whoever tunes in now or later. If you dare to just listen from a place of not knowing, being open and curious, allowing yourself the grace of just receiving this blessedness. Yes, beautiful. And if it's your first time or your forever time, thank you for showing up. And yeah, thank you if you're wanting to donate and you feel that love, then you can go to my link in the bio, both on Instagram, YouTube, or webpage, and you will find a PayPal or Vips or Venmo or whatnot. And if you are curious about something, or if you feel something going on after this one, let me know. And I love feedback or somebody giving some text here afterwards. You might have already slept kind of bad. I had some people not really sleeping a lot the night before, feeling a lot of fog in their space yesterday, a lot of emotions that might suddenly feel calmer now as we kind of bring in a little bit of clarity, a little bit of energy, and allowing this body being to kind of open a little bit at a time. We don't want to do it too fast. We're like on turtle time. We just want to do a little bit of, it's going to knock you out over, like just a little bit of energy, new energy into you are going to transform so much. So you don't want to open up to too much. One burger is enough. Don't want to have 10. It's going to make your stomach hurt. So be kind to yourself, be gentle, be graceful to yourself. And I thank you for showing up, and I will see you next time. Have a beautiful day, guys.